content, if you get it right, is absolutely the most powerful way of communicating. And I think is the point there, is that as an organisation, the BCMA is a member-led organisation. It is global, as Jonathan said, and you know, we give people a unique perspective of branded content around the world. And we talk a lot about the UK, we talk a lot about the US, but you know, we're an organisation that's all about best practice. And there's a huge amount of best practice going on across the world, in places like Lebanon, and Slovenia, and South Korea, you know, places that people don't necessarily have access to. But you know, as an organisation, we're very fortunate to have those insights around the world. And I think the interesting point, you know, having come from a sort of advertising background, and all those years ago, you know, brands were created in advertising agencies. That doesn't happen anymore. We're in a world where anyone can create a brand. And even if you're the best brand in the world, even if you're Apple, and you produce a phone that isn't fit for purpose like they did with the iPhone 4, within minutes everyone knows it around the world. The problem today, I think, for brands is that they've lost control. Social media has meant that, you know, brands no longer can control what people are saying about them. So I think the interesting point, and when Jonathan invited us to be part of this network, we were absolutely delighted to join, because I really do believe that there is a need for us to certainly look at the whole process for branded content within the industry. You know, why shouldn't branded content be as accountable as putting an ad on TV or in a publication? Why shouldn't the processes for creating a 30-second ad be the same for branded content? You know, we need these processes. I think the point really there is that in certain instances, branded content comes from lots of different places. It might come from the PR agency, it might come from a vlogger, someone who you think, you know, is going to be representing your brand. Again, you know, where's the control? So best practice is a really big part of what we do. And the reason why we work with the academic institutes is because we believe there is a need to define what exactly we're talking about. Because when you say branded content to someone, they say, what is that? And sometimes they're quite rude about it, but I won't be rude today. But you know, even people, as much as I like Mark Ritson, said quite recently, and you might all picked it up in Marketing Week, is content marketing a load of works? Quote, unquote. That's not particularly helpful, but I kind of see where he was coming from, and I urge you to read the piece if you haven't read it yet. I think the picture they used should have been the one with his head in his hands like that, but I think a few of you know what I mean. But really, for us, it's to say, well, you know, if you don't know what it is, you can't do it brilliantly in very simple terms. So Bjorn will talk about the work that we've done with Oxford Brookes, which started 3 years ago, to look at defining branded content for the digital age. Now, the good thing about that is that we now have a definition. The more interesting thing is that not everyone's going to agree with it. And I think that's healthy. I think it needs to be out there. We need to have a debate about it. And that's something that I think this group is incumbent upon this group to do. I'm delighted to be part of it. I was saying earlier on to some colleagues on the advisory board, and I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but having young children, kind of you live your life through your eyes of your children now, and you know, when I grew up, you know, 3 channels, you know, not much choice. I said to my 9-year-old daughter the other day, you know, on the tablet, I said, what are you watching? She said, I'm watching Waitrose TV. I thought, okay, that's better than some of the rubbish that's out there, but you know, she's into baking, she loves cooking, so I thought, okay, that's okay. And so I went into Waitrose a few days later, and there's Martha from the Waitrose channel. She's in all over the store, and I'm thinking, that's amazing. You know, that brand it sells food, it sells stuff. You know, they've got this channel, they've got these touch points where they can bring someone in at 9 years old and keep them until they're 70 or whatever. So this is the world that we're now populating with, and brands are, I think, struggling to understand just how powerful content can be. But I think also, again, it's incumbent upon us to guide them through it. We, as an organisation, will produce guides to best practice in, for example, our latest member is Ocean Outdoors, so they're an outdoor digital company. and we're producing very shortly the guide to best practice in outdoor digital marketing. ITV are members, ITM production, so it kind of goes across the whole piece. Recently we've just Mother London have joined. The creative community, I think, are a little bit behind the curve. I think media has been driving this whole area, and I think it's time to rebalance that. So we can do that through collaboration, because I always say that you can't do everything on your own. And I think when you put a group of people together that have lots of different views and thoughts, I think you come up with better solutions. So that's why we're here. I also think that brands are particularly, they have this sort of tendency to sort of run towards the shiny new thing. Oh, it's content, so we've got to do it. Or it's social media, or let's do, a Facebook page, or let's make a viral. You don't make a viral. You never see a bad viral, do you? That's because you set out to make great content, which actually, if it's any good, people want to share. But I also think there's an element here of, how are we measuring success? How do we know that this content is working, and how effective is it? This week, the IPA, which is another organisation we work with, the Institute of Practitioners in Advertising, it's their effectiveness week. So a whole programme of events, a 2-day conference which finished yesterday, 50 satellite events, over 2,500 people will attend across that week. We did an event in Oxford Brookes on Monday, looking at measurement and ROI, branded content, because actually we think that's a very important area, because it's got to be evidence-based. I will not sit in front of a brand or an agency and expect them to invest in this area. Yes, invest, not spend as a cost, unless I can show them how effective it will be. There are no guarantees. Even if you, in advertising, it's not guaranteed you're going to sell more products and services, but I think we've got to set out with that intention. So we have our own measurement tool, Content Monitor, which we've just launched the 2.0 version, which I'm very pleased about, with Ipsos Mori, who do our data collection. But I think the area of academic institutions is very important to us. We have lots of connections around the world, so we've created the first postgraduate course for branded content in Sao Paulo with Senac University, through BCMA South America, and Patricia Weiss is leading that charge. In Spain, we have our own BCMA Academy, which is set up with the Carlos III University and the Madrid School of Marketing. So again, we're trying to sort of teach people the skills of branded content, because I think there is a skills gap. And I talk to a lot of people in the industry, they say they find it very difficult to employ people with the right skills for branded content. And we'll continue to do that, because I think it's really interesting the amount of content now that is being created, whether that's through brand owners, through the consumers, and I think I was speaking at a conference, the Golden Drum Festival in Ljubljana quite recently, and we were talking about how brands now are looking at the content as generating revenue. So brands like PepsiCo, Unilever and Mondelez have created their own studios to now create content, because they now see it as an area where they can generate revenue, which is another interesting development. I think something we should celebrate, but also investigate and look at how those brands are doing. I also think this whole area of control is really key, and I think some brands are actually trying to think about it and trying to take back a bit of control. So brands like GoPro, for example, the video company, great product, but they empower their customers and consumers to create content for them. But that content then gets sent to the brand, and the brand then curates that content and then uses it as part of their marketing. So again, it's trying to take back a bit of control. And I think really, if I'm really honest, I haven't done this for quite some time, it is just really about doing the basics right. We see a lot of content, great content, but when we ask, well, have you thought about your distribution strategy, where you're actually going to show it? We often get a blank look. We haven't really thought about that. Well, you've got to think about it, because it's no point just putting it on your YouTube or putting it on your website. And then we say, well, how are you going to activate it? How are you going to tell people about it? And it's kind of just putting it into those terms that people need to understand how to do it right. But I think also really it's about understanding, from an academic perspective, how we can teach the skills needed and how to set up for the outcomes of the real world. I mean, that was really what I wanted to say, and I'm happy to take any questions now, or we can do it after the end of this session, but that was really all I had to say. So thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.